In 1773, tensions between the American colonies and Britain exploded. Parliament passed the Tea Act, giving the East India Company a monopoly to sell tea directly to the colonies. Colonists saw this as a sneaky tax without representation, another way Britain tightened its grip. The fight wasn't just about tea, it was about control, rights, and the future of a continent. Tea wasn't just a drink, it symbolized British control. The Tea Act lowered prices but kept the tax, reminding colonists they were under Britain's financial thumb. Many smuggled cheaper tea, but Britain cracked down hard. This only fueled anger and resistance. Colonists began to see the tea tax as a direct attack on their freedoms and livelihoods. The Sons of Liberty emerged, a secret band of patriots led by Samuel Adams. They spread the word. Paying the tea tax meant accepting tyranny. They organized protests, building momentum, and turning scattered anger into focused defiance. Their goal was clear: resist British control and protect colonial rights at any cost. In November 1773, 3 British ships arrived in Boston Harbor carrying East India Company tea. Local officials demanded the ships leave without unloading the taxed cargo. The British refused. Tension built as colonists watched, waiting for a spark. The harbor became a battleground, quiet, tense, but ready to ignite. December 16th approached, and colonists debated their next move. Violence could provoke brutal retaliation. Inaction meant submission. Samuel Adams called for bold action, a statement that would echo across the colonies. The plan was set: destroy the tea. This act would show Britain the colonists' resolve and unwillingness to accept unjust laws. On the night of December 16th, colonists disguised as Mohawk Native Americans to hide identities and symbolize a new American identity. Under darkness, they boarded the tea ships silently, ready to carry out one of the most daring protests of the era. The air was thick with tension and anticipation as the rebels prepared to make history. They smashed open 342 chests of tea, dumping nearly 90,000 pounds into Boston Harbor. The sounds of crashing wood and tea splashing filled the cold night air. This was no mere vandalism. It was a loud, clear declaration. Colonists rejected British taxes and were willing to fight for their rights and freedoms, whatever the cost. Britain was furious. The Tea Party was seen as outright rebellion and disrespect. Parliament responded with the Coercive Acts, or Intolerable Acts, punishing Massachusetts and tightening control. But instead of crushing resistance, these laws united the colonies in outrage. The Tea Party became a symbol of defiance, sparking widespread colonial support. The Boston Tea Party inspired solidarity across the colonies. Towns from Georgia to New England protested in unison, showing support for Massachusetts. This unity led to the First Continental Congress, where delegates coordinated colonial opposition. The colonies were no longer separate. They were a united front, ready to challenge British rule together. The Tea Party sped the colonies toward revolution. Britain's harsh response deepened colonial anger and pushed moderates toward rebellion. Seeds of war were sown, and within 2 years, the battles of Lexington and Concord would ignite the American Revolutionary War, forever changing the world's balance of power and the idea of freedom itself. The Boston Tea Party remains an iconic act of protest and civil disobedience. It proved ordinary people united could challenge unjust authority and change history. The event is a reminder that liberty requires courage and sacrifice, and that sometimes shaking the status quo means bold, even theatrical defiance. What if the Boston Tea Party never happened? Would America's fight for freedom have stalled or been crushed? This single night of defiance changed history forever. It teaches us that challenging power requires bravery, unity, and the willingness to act boldly. The Boston Tea Party wasn't just about tea. It was about taking control of destiny. Stay sharp with Curious Fact Vault. Like, comment, and subscribe for mind-blowing daily facts.